Welcome to the Psychology of Crime with me, RC. He had it all: a successful periodontist, a thriving South Florida practice, a family's name who carried wealth and prestige. But behind the polished smiles and the designer lifestyle was a man bound by loyalty, control, and a family system that blurred every moral line. I'm talking about Charlie Adelson, once a respected periodontist, now serving life without parole for the unaliving of danmarkel. In this video, I'm going to be retelling the crime, but I'm also going to be dissecting the psychology of how a man with everything to lose risks it all, and why he may never have believed that he would have been caught. Before his conviction, Charlie Adelson was the image of success, a periodontist in Fort Lauderdale. Expensive taste, charismatic smile, a self-image centered around winning. Colleagues described him as intelligent and charming, but with an edge, confident to the point of arrogance. In psychology, we call this narcissistic overcompensation, the outward confidence that hides an internal fear of inadequacy. For high achieving professionals raised in high controlled families, achievement isn't isn't just about self-worth, it's about maintaining family status. Every success is expected, every failure is catastrophic. And when a family's identity rests on perfection, members often learn to bend the rules before they start to break them. Charlie grew up as the favorite son of Donna Adelson, the matriarch, his sister Wendy, the golden daughter, and his father Harvey. The family appears, based on court testimony, to have functioned as an enmeshed system. Boundaries blurred, personal lives intertwined, and decisions were made collectively. In an enmeshed family, love equals loyalty, and loyalty often overrides morality. Psychologists will often note that sons who are raised under strong maternal dominance may internalize the message: protect your mother and sister at all costs. When Wendy's divorce from Dan Markell turned ugly and the custody battle kept her tied in Tallahassee, Charlie's protective instincts likely merged with family expectations. Donna's repeated complaints about Dan were recorded in trial evidence. It is plausible that Charlie saw himself as a problem solver. Although Donna went ahead and said that there was no iota of evidence before the crime, I beg to differ and say that there were plenty of iotas before the crime, via her emails, her communications with Wendy, and so forth. In every family with a controlling matriarch, there's often one child who becomes the fixer, the one who manages crisis, protects the family image, and makes things go away. Charlie seemed to take on that role. He was the one with money, contacts, and the charm to navigate gray areas. When prosecutors presented their case, they showed how Charlie allegedly arranged payment to the hitman through his ex-girlfriend, Catherine McBanoa. Legally, that made him the bridge, the connection between the emotional motive and the criminal act. Psychologically, it made him the family savior, sacrificing morality to restore order. What's chilling in how ordinary this pattern looks in family systems theory, when control meets the desperation, logic collapses, and, and the family fixer becomes the predator. During the trial, Charlie maintained that he was set up, a victim of extortion, double extortion. Denial is a powerful defense mechanism, especially for those who built their identity on intellect and control. Cognitive dissonance theory explains this. When reality and self image collide, the mind rewrites the story to preserve ego. In his worldview, Charlie wasn't a criminal, he was a victim of others' mistakes. That narrative, that narrative protected his sense of superiority and self worth. But over time, As this evidence stacked up, the recorded conversations, the financial trail, the coded language about TVs and rent payments, denial turned into delusion. From the stand, he still projected calm confidence. That's what long term narcissistic conditioning does. It teaches you to perform control even when you've lost it. Charlie Adelson's arrest in 2022 was a turning point. The once polished periodontist in a designer lifestyle was now in handcuffs, facing first-degree murder. In 2023, a jury found him guilty, and he received life without parole plus 60 years. The courtroom image, the man who once reconstructed smiles, now listening to his own fate, is haunting. In forensic psychology, narcissistic collapse is when the facade finally shatters and the individual faces an ultimate loss of control. The irony? For a man who built his life on control, control of patience, control of image, control of family chaos, his punishment was total loss of control. In a prison cell, there are no status symbols, no luxury cars, no protective mother making phone calls, only time and his own mind. In a video where he was being transported, you could see that Charlie was having a conversation with himself. It was like a visual or a sensory hallucination type of deal. Experts who study white collar and familial crimes note that offenders like Charlie often retain a grandiose self narrative, even in incarceration. They'll say things like they misunderstood me, or I was protecting my family, or because I didn't pull the trigger, I did not do it. That's the tragedy of narcissistic entrapment. When you believe that that your intent redeems your actions. But beneath the rationalization lies something deeply human, and that's the fear of rejection. Many speculate that Charlie's loyalty to his mother and sister wasn't purely arrogance, it was attachment. If he failed them, he'd lose his family's love. If he saved them, he would be a hero. Unfortunately, that distorted heroism destroyed lives for generations to come, including his own life. Charlie Adelson's story is more than a legal case. It's a cautionary tale about control, loyalty, and the cost of unresolved family systems. From periodontist to defendant, the fall was not sudden, it was decades in the making. For those that look at psychology and the true crime, this is a reminder. Unchecked family enmeshment can turn love into leverage and loyalty into liability. What do you think drove Charlie Adelson? Ambition, control, or the desperate need for approval? Comment below and join me on the next one. And thank you for being here with me. Legal disclaimer. All analysis is based on public record and psychological theory. This content expresses opinion, not fact, nor does it contain any sort of diagnosis.